Happy Saturday, everyone. I hope you're enjoying your day. I just wanted to hop on and do a quick video for Mental Health Awareness Day. Honestly, mental health should always be an awareness for all of us every day, not just one day out of the year. But being that today is a nationally recognized day for it, I really just wanted to hop on and share a couple words, especially with losing someone close to me. Well, not close to me, like meaning someone that I know or knew recently, to something that I have struggled with in the past for a very long time. I thought it was very important for me to get on and finally kind of talk a little bit about it. I'm not going to go too much into detail. I'll save that for maybe another day, another video. But I did want to just share a little bit. I think it's just so important that we make sure that we check on our people genuinely, authentically, all the time, building relationships with them, because myself, I struggle with depression really bad, and it's not like your depression where something happens and you fall into a depression, like losing someone or you losing a job, a pandemic, or something necessarily triggering it. I used to struggle with literally episodes of depression, ups and downs, and I hated it. I hated it because I felt so out of control. I didn't know what was wrong with me. It would just hit like really heavy. And it's not like when someone catches a cold or they're suffering from a illness or disease, because we can see that. We can see that taking a toll on someone's body. We can see it on the outside happening, right? When I tore my Achilles, people could see that I couldn't walk. People could see that my bones and my ligaments aren't functioning the same, but there's no X-ray, there's no MRI, there's nothing to be able to tell whether or not someone is battling mental illness, whether that be depression, suicide, bipolar, whatever the case may be. There is no brain scan that can tell you that. Only thing that can tell you that is honestly genuine relationship with that person, and not giving up on them. When you begin to see these different signs, instead we need to start educating ourselves. When we start to see things that are out of norm for us in people and out of norm for that person, honestly, if you know that someone is usually a bubbly, happy person, but then they're plateauing for months at a time, or they're becoming super suicidal out of nowhere, and you notice that it's happening randomly, then that's something for you to now educate yourself on and build an even more closer relationship with them to understand what exactly is going on. Because I guarantee you, just as much as it bothers you, it's bothering them, because they know that they're not themselves. For me, it was something I struggled with since as long as I can remember, being a child, dealing with depression and isolation. And honestly, soon came thoughts of suicide and wanting to die. And I have attempted multiple times in my life, and it is only by the grace of God, I must say, that I am even sitting here today to be able to advocate for those like me, who are dealing with something similar. We're there, and there are some people who, unfortunately, they just don't win that battle, and they actually end up completing suicide. And that is more of the reason why I wanted to speak out, to encourage them to know that it is a way out, that is not the end. And it's a tough battle. And out of all people, I understand you. If no one in your circle understands you, if no one seems to get you, if people are leaving you and they're talking about you, or they're talking about what you're dealing with, they're not really talking about you. Matter of fact, let me preference that. People talk about what you're dealing with, but they're not really talking about you. And what they really don't understand is that what you're dealing with morphed itself into your identity. It took over your life. It's an imposter. Depression, suicidal thoughts. It takes over your life in a different form. It's a cancer. But see, people treat cancer differently than they do depression and suicide. with cancer, people feel empathy. They want to help. They want to be around, right? But it's the same thing, just how you go through losing your hair, you're getting frail, whatever the case may be. With depression, it's the same thing. You no longer see life as worth living. You don't want to get out of bed. There's no hope. It just strips you of everything. And it takes a lot to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and keep going. Honestly, I have to pat my own self on the back because people don't know what it's taken to be sitting here, to sit next to half of the people that have interacted with me that don't really know the depth of what I've been through and who I was and how I had to fight for my life. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of you are fighting for your lives. A lot of you are fighting to breathe every day and not take your own breath away. And it's a struggle. Like, it really is. But I just want to be a light for you to say that there is a way out. And there are still going to be some tough days. I would never lie to you and say it's not. There are going to be days that people don't understand you. And there are going to be some people that, you know, fall by the wayside because of the struggle you deal with. But then there are going to be some amazing people that are going to stick by your side, that are going to be those people you can count on through thick and thin. The biggest thing that helped me get to a somewhat stable place before I became completely stable, because there's just levels to this, was the best thing I ever did was making a plan for my plan. And what I mean by that is I had to make an emergency plan for whenever I planned to end my life. I had to have a plan, and that plan consisted of people. Who could I call? And if that person didn't answer, who could I call then? If that person didn't answer, who can I call then? Whose house can I know I can go over? Who is going to come at the drop of a hat if I'm having this episode? For some people with manic episodes, if I'm having this episode, who is going to be there for me no matter what? And that plan was full of amazing people that I left back at home in Milwaukee. Shout out to Milltown. I had an amazing support system of people that I could count on, that ended up, once they realized how deep it was for me, that stepped up and they got in the playing field and they were there. It was a point in my life where every time I woke up, my only task for the day was to just go over a friend's house. So I wasn't alone. Like, there was a season of my life I could not leave myself with myself. And that's okay. It's okay, because you're preventing yourself from yourself for a season, but it doesn't have to be like that for the rest of your life. You just take each season as it is. I'm grateful for that friend who every time I woke up, they were texting me, they were calling me, what are you doing? Okay, when you coming over, get dressed, whatever. Like, they were really there in that season. And that saved my life. It really saved my life. Like, they saved my life. You never know how putting yourself aside and just being there for someone can save their lives. Okay. And I had to work to this. It didn't happen overnight, of course. I had to really, press through and get it out the mud pretty much. For some people that means something different, but for me, getting out the mud really means like I had to fight the enemy within me that was fighting me. And that's a different battle a lot of people will never understand. Even people that I know now still don't understand it. And it's okay. They don't have to. But one thing that no one can ever, ever, ever take from you is your strength. Like, you are so strong for sticking in this thing, because the worst thing is to have an invisible enemy where you don't know where they're shooting. You don't know where they're shooting from. You know what I'm saying? It's a sniper shooting from a window and you don't know where that window is, but they keep raining bullets down, right? And they keep on coming, and you fighting this invisible enemy every day, and your friends can't see that enemy, right? Your friends can't even hear what they're saying to you. I mean, you are in conversations with people you're trying to interact, and that enemy's talking. I remember in one of my poems that I recently wrote, I said that this friend, this enemy, this thing becomes, suicide becomes your friend, your confidant, and your enemy. And that's one of the best ways I can describe it. When you're dealing with things like depression and suicide, bipolar, schizophrenia, all these things, whatever this voice is, it becomes your confidant, but it also becomes your enemy. And literally it's one and the same, but you don't know. This is the thing that is coaching you through life. And it is the thing trying to get you to end it. And so to be able to recognize that voice and know that it's not true, and to be able to get people to hear you and understand your struggle. I had to educate those around me, even as I was educating myself. It takes a lot, but you can do it. And there are so many people that are dealing with this. It's not even funny. Like, it could be someone right next to you dealing with that. And all it takes is for us to stop being so selfish that we're engulfed in our own worlds. If you think of someone, reach out to them, see how they're doing. They cross your mind randomly, just check on their well-being, because this life has a way of beating us down. We were put here for one another. We were put here to collaborate, to operate in fellowship with one another. Like, without people, the world doesn't exist. Like, it doesn't go on. We wouldn't have any of this. So never lose sight of that. So I just want to say my little piece on it, and share that mental illness, well, I don't like calling it that, but mental health, healing around your mental health is very much needed. It was needed for me. Especially for my African American people, I gotta say it. We have a lot of trauma. We have a lot of reoccurring trauma in our faces every day, in our families. And there's just a lot of things that we have to face and we have to deal with. A lot of generational things we have to break off. And it's a lot of weight on your shoulders. But that's more the reason why we gotta band together and attack this thing. Because it's not all about just, some people can, some people it's not a factor, but for a lot, and I do mean a lot of people walking this earth today, especially during this pandemic, it's coming to the light that your mental health is not healthy. And we can't just go through existing in life and ignoring and coping with, whether it's liquor, weed, whatever, coping with things, using things to cope, but not really addressing and healing. So continue to have mental health be an awareness for you. It's a social worker in me, I guess, coming out. It's always important to be aware of people, because, you never know what their struggle was. I was so good. I mean, I became a master at being two-faced. And what I mean by that is, if anyone has, I don't want to spoil the movie, but if you've seen The Joker, you know what I'm saying. But when I say two-faced, I mean fake, but I don't mean fake in the sense of I'm talking behind your back. I mean fake in the sense of, with you, I'm what you want me to be, which is bubbly, exciting, funny, lit. We turned up, we this, we that. But by myself, I hated life. I wanted to die, literally. I was probably like thinking about it right before I seen you, or probably during seeing you. Gosh, I'll have to do a separate video on it, but like, I shouldn't be here, y'all. You're talking to someone who's tried to throw themselves out of a moving car. I'm talking about, I used to cut. Like, I tried to OD multiple times. There is just, I have a story behind my life, and I'm very, very passionate about this because I lived it. And so, this day means a lot to me because I got my life back. And I'm still getting my life back. It's still a struggle for me some days. And it's a different type of a struggle. It's not the exact same. Like, thank God I'm like over this suicide thing. I've conquered that. So all I'm saying is, nutshell, be aware of yourself and taking care of your mental health. Therapy, if that's what you need to do. Looking at patterns. I mean, when you doing self-care, really watching negative thoughts and what you're putting into your mind, your spirit, like pay attention to all of that. But also don't get so caught up in me. Pay attention to your neighbor. Care about your neighbor. Check on them. Take them out for lunch. Invite them out. Because there is times where people just inviting me out saved my life and they didn't know it. So invite people to things. Let them, come around. Do things with people. Especially if there's people that that don't have much family, or they don't have, many friends, or they're isolating. So they're just all of a sudden they're not around anymore. They used to be around a lot and now they're not around. Check on them, see how they're doing, how is their mental space, and don't just accept yeah, I'm okay, I'm doing fine, it's all right, it's good. Like, really ask intentional questions, you know what I'm saying? Like, really ask them things like, how has your day-to-day been? Are you mentally feeling okay? Like, how is work? How are these areas? You know what I'm saying? Like, I noticed you haven't been around. Have you just been tired? Start asking more intentional questions, because a lot of times that confidant in people's head is what causes them to be fake and hide it, because they don't want to lose you too, but because of what they're dealing with. And for me, that was a big thing too. I needed to be fake because I didn't want to lose that one friend, 2, 3, 4 friends that I had, because I was this Debbie Downer who wanted to kill herself or something. And that's just the reality. Like, I'm gonna give you what I think you want, so that way, like, I don't lose, this connection to life that I have. And so it's just about talking to them and just having conversation, and it'll come out, because there's really no way to truly hide it when you're truly in relationship with someone. The only way someone could really finesse you on that is if you're not truly intentionally in relationship with someone. Anybody who is truly in relationship with me, I couldn't finesse them, and they ended up finding out what I was struggling with, and they picked up on little things. And so I'm just encouraging you guys to create relationships, and really be authentic with them. Don't give up on people so easily, and get to know each other's story. Get to know exactly who they are, what they come from, and where they want to go. And if they're stuck and things are haywire and they can't figure out why, you might be that key by just being there to help them and letting them know that they're not in this fight alone. Get in the ring with them. If I could leave you guys with nothing else, I would just say, get in the ring with them. Shout out to everybody in my life who got in the ring with me. They stayed in the ring. They're still my longtime friends today, and I appreciate them. I love you guys. You guys know who you are. You got in the ring with me. You're still in the ring with me, and you've seen my glow up, and it is because of you just being in the ring, and being consistent, and you never threw anything in my face, and you remembered who I was at the core and not what I was dealing with. You continue to push me. So get in the ring with somebody, and let's defeat all of this mental illness that people are dealing with. Remain mental health aware. Happy Mental Health Awareness Day, guys. Love you. Have a safe Saturday.